Welcome, dear viewers, to yet another riveting exploration of humankind's desire to throw itself headlong into cosmic peril. Because apparently real life isn't interesting enough without conjuring up insane scenarios like teleporting our precious planet to the shimmering rings of Saturn. Yes, you heard that right. Someone, somewhere, probably an underpaid lab tech fueled by too much coffee, thought it would be a brilliant idea to imagine Earth suddenly popping into Saturn's orbit, right smack in the middle of those glorious ice and rock highways we so romantically call the rings. Now, for those of you who actually hoped this day would come because you're bored with just living in relative comfort, health, and safety on Earth, congratulations. This documentary is specifically for you. Today we're going to break down the oh-so-delightful ways in which life as we know it would utterly crumble once Earth hitchhikes to Saturn's ring system. Spoiler alert, it's not going to be pretty, but at least it'll be a spectacle for the meager few seconds you have before you freeze, starve, or get microwaved by radiation. Shall we begin? Saturn's rings, everyone's favorite cosmic jewel, a breathtaking phenomenon. Tens of thousands of kilometers wide, yet often only a few tens of meters thick in many places. But of course, you already knew that if you'd ever stayed awake in your elementary school astronomy class, right? The rings are primarily composed of water ice, with a smattering of rocky material and the occasional dash of cosmic dust, like the cheap sprinkles on a sad donut. They're divided into multiple main sections, the broad, bright A and B rings, the relatively faint C ring, plus a handful of lesser-known rings that only interest science nerds and NASA interns. There are also these fancy divisions like the Cassini division and the Encke gap, which are basically large voids in the ring system. Fascinating, I know, but hold your applause. To put this in painfully obvious context, these rings are located between about 73,000 kilometers and 137,000 kilometers from Saturn's center, though if we factor in the more wispy external rings, that boundary stretches farther. Wow, big numbers, so cosmic. Saturn's radius itself is about 58,000 kilometers, roughly 9 times the radius of Earth. So yeah, it's a big planet. And just in case that wasn't shocking enough, Saturn's mass is about 95 times Earth's. So, if you ever thought Earth was heavy and important, you might want to sit down for this reality check. Here's the premise. By some magical quantum phenomenon or by the miracle of some ironically named genius technology, Earth is wrenched away from its cozy orbit around the Sun and, poof, dropped off among Saturn's rings. Because apparently living in a habitable zone with adequate sunlight was just too ordinary. Maybe we wanted a change of scenery? Perhaps we got bored of Earth's radiant star and yearned for a gas giant's gloom. How romantic. Now let's think about the immediate consequences of this cosmic road trip. First, Earth's brand spanking new cosmic landlord Saturn has some serious gravitational pull. Earth would become, in effect, just another rebellious moon orbiting the ringed planet. Though, to be fair, moon is a generous term for a planet that has no business being there. Oh, but maybe Earth will fit right in, you might say. Isn't that precious? Earth is over 6,000 kilometers in radius with its own mass, atmosphere, liquid water, and all those adorable living things. If you think it'll just nestle gently into the ring system like a puzzle piece, I've got an ice cube tray to sell you in Antarctica. So, you like sunlight? Enjoy warmth? Fancy that little feature called photosynthesis that keeps your entire food chain from collapsing? Well, guess what? At Saturn's orbit, about 9.5 astronomical units away from the Sun, solar intensity is slashed to around 1/90th of what Earth used to get. That's right, 1/90th? Let that sink in, along with the planet's average temperature. Within days, hours, if we're being pessimistic, global temperatures would begin to plummet. Did you enjoy your cozy 15 degrees C average? Well, wave it goodbye. We're heading towards instant glaciation like an unplanned cosmic cryotherapy session. Crops fail, livestock perishes, and humans run screaming for any form of heat source that might offset this perpetual polar winter. But sure, someone out there might still be in denial, insisting, "It's just a little chilly, we'll adapt." Absolutely. Because a 60-degree drop in global temperature is nothing, right? But hey, maybe you're thinking, so we've lost sunlight, big whoop. At least we have Saturn's gravitational embrace. How romantic. Indeed, how romantic to watch Earth's oceans slosh violently, to witness the tides rise hundreds of feet, drowning coastal cities and turning continents into something reminiscent of Swiss cheese. And then there are the tidal forces on Earth's crust. Saturn's powerful gravity, combined with your brand new location in the ring plane, means the planet's interior will get twisted like a soggy dish rag. Expect a dramatic uptick in earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and tectonic tantrums. Because what's a cosmic journey without a bit of cataclysmic geological upheaval? Have any brilliant survival tips for the inevitable freezing, quaking, and raining debris? Or maybe just your best doom-laden one-liners? Drop your thoughts below, because hey, if we're going down, we might as well laugh. Now, back to our regular programming. But hey, at least you'll have front row seats to nature's ultimate fireworks show right before your vantage point collapses into a sinkhole or succumbs to pyroclastic flows. Such a small price to pay for a better view of Saturn's glorious ring system, am I right? Let's not forget the ring system itself. For those starry-eyed folks who adore Saturn's rings, well, Earth is about to ruin them. A planet that large, magically dropped into this delicate dance of icy debris is going to wreak havoc. First, Earth's gravitational pull will disrupt ring particles in its vicinity, effectively clearing out or significantly reshaping a portion of the rings. So if you thought those pristine symmetrical arcs would remain untouched, think again. Earth will carve out a new gap, scatter debris, and maybe fling some ring particles inward towards Saturn or outward into space. Oh, you wanted Earth to become a gracious cosmic neighbor, perhaps gently parting the rings like a curtain? In your dreams, more likely we'll watch ring fragments get flung around, occasionally whizzing into Earth's atmosphere as radiant meteors, or perhaps clumping into mini-moons if the gravitational conditions are just right. Because nothing says, "we come in peace," like rearranging the entire ring structure of a planet we've just barged into uninvited. Now for the part that's really going to brighten your day, radiation. Saturn isn't just a pretty face. Like Jupiter, it sports a robust magnetic field, and it's not exactly distributing warm hugs. Charged particles zip around those field lines, forming lovely radiation belts. Teleporting Earth into that environment? Sheer genius. There's going to be some, let's call it uncomfortable interplay between Earth's magnetosphere and Saturn's. Expect bright auroras at best, lethal levels of radiation at worst. The ring plane is constantly bombarded by these charged particles, so Earth's atmosphere, already grappling with plummeting temperatures, might get additional pounding from high-energy electrons, protons, and cosmic rays. Think of it as the universe's attempt at microwaving your last bag of popcorn. Except you're the popcorn. But don't worry, I'm sure your SPF 100 sunscreen will handle it. Maybe the next time you pop by the store, you can pick up an SPF 1000 for good measure. Because hey, if you're going to be stuck in a cosmic radiation belt, might as well be prepared, right? Let's pretend Earth somehow manages to remain intact for longer than 5 minutes. The question is, does it become a stable moon of Saturn? Do we get flung out of the ring plane, or do we spiral into Saturn's atmosphere for a spectacular final meltdown? The possibilities are endlessly bleak. Earth might carve out a new elliptical orbit, crossing the ring plane repeatedly, each pass scattering ring particles and wreaking more havoc. Or, if the gravitational dance with Saturn's existing moons, and there are plenty of them, gets complicated, Earth could either be ejected from Saturn's orbit entirely, or dropped deeper into Saturn's gravitational well like a lead weight. Let's see. Ejection out of the Saturn system could fling Earth into some lonely orbit around the Sun. Or worse, fling it out of the solar system altogether. Because being alone in the interstellar void is definitely an upgrade over your old comfortable spot near the Sun. And yes, there's always that fun possibility. Earth just collides with Saturn after a brief cosmic fling. Our lovely little sphere would plummet into Saturn's swirling storms, disintegrating under crushing atmospheric pressures. So if you enjoy the idea of Earth dissolving into Saturn's interior like a sugar cube in coffee, well, you might just get your wish. Now, let's imagine what's happening to our dear human race during this fiasco. Because obviously that's the real question, right? We can't even handle a brief power outage without lighting up Twitter with complaints. So let's see how we fare when we lose almost all sunlight and face bone-chilling cold. Within mere weeks, agriculture has collapsed. Global supply chains, no pun intended, are frozen. Most of the population, lacking the foresight or means to adapt, succumbs to the cold or starvation. A few enclaves of the ultra-prepared might scurry underground, setting up biodomes lit by artificial grow lamps. But let's face it, that's not going to feed billions. Oh, but we'll just migrate to the equator, you say. Sure. And how exactly is that going to help when the entire planet drops to subarctic temperatures, The only feasible way to maintain a bubble of habitable conditions would be an advanced network of geothermal or nuclear-powered facilities. Congratulations. You get to spend the rest of your short, miserable life in a cramped vault, living off recycled water and lab-grown algae that tastes like soggy cardboard. The dream, right? But if that's too depressing, you can always head outside for fresh air. Just be sure to pack your thermal suit, oxygen supply because the atmosphere might freeze out, and a lead-lined jacket to block out the cosmic radiation. No big deal. Looking for a silver lining? Well, how about nightly meteor showers? Isn't that adorable? Earth's gravity could tug on those ring particles and they'd fall into our atmosphere, lighting up the sky in a macabre fireworks display. If you can even see them through the eternal twilight. And don't worry about the ones that don't burn up entirely. Being pummeled by ice chunks and rock fragments is just an extra perk of living in Saturn's ring system. You'll get used to it, surely. So, there you have it, folks. The next time you're daydreaming about sensational ways to spice up your existence, just remember, teleporting Earth to Saturn's ring system might sound like the ultimate cosmic adventure, but it's really just a one-way ticket to absolute annihilation of the rings, of Earth's biosphere, and of your precious, oh-so-fragile illusions of planetary stability. If we learned anything from this utterly pointless thought experiment, it's that Earth occupies a precarious Goldilocks zone for a reason. Yanking it out of that zone doesn't elevate us to some higher cosmic plane. It simply dooms us. But hey, what do I know? I'm only stating the painfully obvious facts while sounding like an insufferable know-it-all. Because, newsflash, sometimes the universe doesn't care about your whimsical fantasies, and so, please, feel free to conjure up more magical teleportation scenarios over your morning coffee. Meanwhile, I'll be here, quietly watching the unstoppable meltdown from a safe vantage. Assuming, of course, that such a vantage even exists. Until next time, dear watchers, stay cozy in your delightfully normal orbit around the sun and perhaps cherish that bright daylight a little bit more. You never know when an innovative idea might fling you across the solar system into the cosmic boondocks. That's all for today, ladies and gents. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this heartwarming documentary with all your friends who might also benefit from a swift dose of reality. And hey, if you still think Earth belongs in Saturn's rings, drop us a comment. We'll all be sure to read it from our climate-controlled bunkers.